Welcome to the Treasury Update Podcast, Coffee Break Sessions, presented by Strategic Treasurer. The show where we cover foundational topics and core Treasury issues in about the same amount of time it takes you to drink your cup of coffee. I'll be your host, Jonathan, Media Production Specialist here at Strategic Treasurer, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We are back with another coffee break session, and today I'm excited to welcome Jack Rosenberg from Rosenberg and Parker to walk us through the basics of surety bonds. Welcome to the show, Jack.
Great to be here, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so could you get us started with what are surety bonds?
So surety bonds at its most basic level is financial assurance. It's a guarantee that a party is going to honor the performance in its contract, and they tend to be performance in nature.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to go down one layer deeper?
Yeah, sure. So just to start, surety bonds are written by insurance companies, but they're not insurance. It's kind of impossible to give the explanation without starting there, right? Because you have Chubb and Travelers and Nationwide, like these big Berkshire Hathaway, these big insurance houses writing this product, but it's not insurance. So the big differences are, one, it's three parties, not two. So in insurance, we all, in America, pretty much everybody below a certain age has health care through their employer. That's a two-party transaction. You get sick, as long as your deductible is fully paid, you go to the doctor, hopefully everything goes right, your health insurance pays the claim. And so it's two-party transaction. You as the insured and your insurer. With surety, there's three parties. You have what we call the principal, that's Rosenberg and Parker's client. You have the surety, which tends to be an insurance company, a la a Nationwide, a Berkshire Hathaway, a Chubb, making a guarantee on behalf of the principal. And then you have the counterparty that is forcing the principal to make this guarantee that they're going to perform their contract. And Jonathan, would it be helpful if I gave an example?
Yeah.
Surety is I think 60% of the market roughly still today is still construction. And so let's use the paving of a road. Let's say, Jonathan, where are you located in the US?
We are just south of Atlanta in Georgia.
So let's say that, a state road in Georgia needs to be paved, right?
Okay.
And let's say it's a decent sized stretch. It's a 20-mile long stretch.
There's plenty of those around here, still underway.
So let's say that Jonathan's contracting business and Jack's contracting business are both bidding to pave that road. And Jack's contracting business bids $25 million. Jonathan's business bids $24 million. America is the lowest bid wins society when it comes to public construction, generally, not always, but generally. So Jonathan, congratulations. You guys won the work. You were awarded the job. Well, the state of Georgia, most likely, is going to require a bond, guaranteeing that you're going to pave the road, as was put out in the bid specs, according to the contract, for $24 million. So a surety, let's say you work with Chubb. Chubb makes a guarantee on behalf of Jonathan's contracting business to the state of Georgia. They write a physical bond. It basically says, Jonathan will perform according to the contract. What happens, Jonathan, if you don't perform? Let's say you walk off the job. Actually, let's start with you default. Jonathan's contracting business got out over their skis and they go out of business in the middle of the job. Well, now what's protecting the state of Georgia is that Chubb is right there, and Chubb has made the guarantee on your behalf. So Chubb has two choices at this point. They can either complete the job themselves, go hire Jack's contracting business to come in and finish the job, or they could write a check to the state of Georgia saying, here's your $24 million back. They wipe their hands with it and they're finished. If I was an audience member and I wasn't entirely familiar with surety, I'd be saying, well, that sounds a lot like insurance for the county, right? Like, how's that different? There was a claim and the insurance company paid, and the insurance company took care of it. Well, this is where the whole three-party part of it comes in. Yes, the state of Georgia required that there be a bond. And in that example that I just explained, Jonathan, where your contracting business, sorry for you, went out of business, defaulted, and the state of Georgia got paid. Well, you're still in that in that circle. You're still in that triangle, those three parties. So a better way to illustrate the three-party nature of surety is, let's say you didn't go bankrupt. Let's say your business didn't default and go under, and you just walked off the job. And ultimately, Chubb couldn't convince you to come back and finish it. You said, you know what, forget you, Chubb, you do what you need to do, but we're out of here. What governs the relationship between the principal, again, we don't say the insured, we say the principal. What governs the relationship between the principal and the surety is an indemnity agreement. And the indemnity agreement holds the surety harmless against any losses. It's not an insurance policy. It's not just, oh, this happens and the insurance company pays out. In this instance, where you now have walked off the job, Jonathan, but you haven't gone bankrupt, you haven't defaulted, you're still a going concern. Well, Chubb has this indemnity agreement, and that indemnity agreement holds them harmless for any losses. So whatever Chubb lost in completing that job, the indemnity agreement gives them the legal right to go after Jonathan's contracting business and to be made whole. And there's lots of legal precedent of sureties basically turning to their indemnity agreements, going to the courts, suing a Jonathan's construction, and being made whole for whatever losses they have to the degree that they have. So that's how it's different than insurance. Their goal is to underwrite this for no claims. Whereas if you think about an insurance business, an insurance company, and this is very broad strokes, but let's say they're trying to get $1 billion worth of premium. They know they're trying to project out that they're going to pay $900 million in claims, and let's say they do. They hit it right on the number, and then they have $50 million in overhead. Okay, great. $1 billion minus 900 minus 50, $50 million in underwriting profit left over. Great, happy days. In surety, sureties are underwriting to not pay out claims. And if they do have to pay out claims, the only time they're taking a loss, for the most part, is when the principal that they're underwriting goes bankrupt. That's why it's more akin to a credit product. And that's a very long explanation on why it's not insurance.
What are some other common use cases for surety bonds in the world of finance and treasury?
I think a really common one is for insurance program deductibles. So if you have a large deductible, sometimes you are asked by your carrier to post some amount of financial assurance guaranteeing that you'll pay your deductible. And that makes sense, right? If you're an insurance company and someone's got a massive insurance program, and let's say they have a $25 million deductible, well, that's a lot of counterparty risk you're taking to that entity. If they fail to pay their deductible, let's say they have some massive claim and it puts them out of business. They can't afford to pay the $25 million. Well, the insurance company is still obligated statutorily to pay the claim. Like within the regulations that govern insurance companies, it doesn't matter if the insured doesn't pay their deductible. AIG, Chubb, they're still on the hook for that. And so if a deductible is $25 million, they want some financial assurance.
That's pretty cool. It brings up a couple other questions, but we don't have time for them right now. But next week on October 7th, we're releasing a Treasury Update podcast episode where Jack and Craig are going to go into a lot more detail into surety bonds. They'll talk about common use cases, challenges, practical examples. So if this topic's interesting to you, make sure that you come back and listen to that episode. Jack, do you have any final thoughts?
Jonathan, I don't have any final thoughts, but I want to just thank you for having me here. It's great to be with you, and I hope your listeners find it interesting.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for sharing your insights. And to our listeners, be sure to tune back every first and third Thursday of the month for another coffee break session.
This podcast is provided for informational purposes only, and statements made by Strategic Treasurer LLC on this podcast are not intended as legal, business, consulting, or tax advice. For more information, visit and bookmark strategictreasurer.com.